Hello, I am Xarkun, and this is World of Warships Legends, where positioning is the name of the game. We're playing one of my very favorite ships in the game. It's the Tier 7 Premium American battleship USS Georgia, and not coincidentally, it is the first ship that I mounted a legendary mod on. Legendary mods are a new product in this game. You can get them fairly easily. You go to your ship's loadout page on the menu, go to the module in the fourth slot, and then you can choose one of the modules. In this case, it is the Artillery Plotting Room module, unique to the American battleships. You go there, you upgrade it first to an Epic module, which, for the Artillery Plotting Room in particular, every 30,000 damage you do, it increases your accuracy by about 2% until you stack it 5 times. And then the legendary version of the mod above that, in addition to giving you better accuracy, gives you 5% more damage for every ship you sink. And you can stack that up to 5 times as well. So theoretically, if you sink 5 ships, you will achieve plus 25% damage on your main battery guns, which for things like the Georgia is a little bit ridiculous. For context, on this build with Azurlane, New Jersey, and using the gyrating drill bit skill, the maximum damage the Georgia's AP shell can do is 17,000. I think it's a little bit over that. But Azurlane, New Jersey gives you some benefits beyond that too. Any shells that go over 10 kilometers do extra damage, and then you've got this legendary mod stacked on top of it, so theoretically, your citadels could end up doing over 20,000 damage, and that is significant. I don't think any ship in the game can boast those kind of numbers, except maybe the Yamato if you also fit the legendary mod on it. But of course, the Yamato being Japanese doesn't get the benefit of Azurlane, New Jersey. In any case, that's the build we're using on the Georgia. We've got the legendary mod, and we're going to activate it 5 times. Although the damage we end up with isn't going to be necessarily super impressive, and this is going to be a short game for one very specific reason. Number one, the teams that play on this map tend to not position well. And as I said at the beginning of this video, positioning is the name of the game. In battleships in particular, what you want to be doing is looking to put your battleship in a place on the map where you have access to the enemy broadsides. Most people, I don't think, have that thought in mind when they're playing a battleship or any other class. They're not thinking of where is the best place on the map to put my ship. They're thinking of other things, like how much damage can I do to this guy, or how close can I get so I can get my torpedoes on them. I have no idea what they're thinking, but what you should be thinking is where can I put my ship on the map to be most effective, regardless of what class you're in, battleship, cruiser, destroyer. If you can figure out the positioning game, everything else will follow from there. And so, with that in mind, we are invading, I guess you could say, the left flank on this map around the Thunder Dome surrounding the Alpha Cap. And the rest of the enemy team is sort of crunched into the center. There are a number of cruisers up here, a Chapayev, a Cleveland, and a San Diego, who have not taken a especially advantageous position for cruisers. You don't really want to put those things in the middle of the map, especially not light cruisers, because if you do put them in the middle of the map, you are liable to be flanked and to be destroyed. Enter Azurlane Chapayev, sitting straight in the middle of the map. He doesn't really know that there's a threat on his broadside, but there is, and it's the Georgia. The Georgia doesn't play any games. Azurlane Chapayev goes down for our first kill of the game, and immediately 40,000 damage done. So we've already procced the epic and legendary versions of the mod. We've got 5% extra damage, we've got 2% better dispersion. shooting at the Cleveland, but unfortunately, our aim is a little bit off. The Cleveland slows down. We thought he was going to accelerate. We were wrong, and so we land all of our shells in the water. Note that the San Diego is not something I take seriously as a threat here. We're not even shooting at him. We want to sink the Cleveland first because the Cleveland has HE, which, if he focuses us, he could melt away our hit points quite quickly. Of course, I guess we are going to actually shoot at the San Diego, and guess what? He's dead too. Another Citadel, another Dev Strike. 62,000 damage, epic mod, procced twice, and legendary mod also procced twice. Let's see if we can get similar results on the Cleveland, who, as you can see, is starting to melt away our hit points just a little bit. We can't allow that to stand. We'll damage con the double fire there. And the shot is out at the Cleveland, this time slightly better aimed, although I think it falls a little bit too far back on his ship, so we only do 10,000 damage with 2 overpens and 1 penetration. There's the epic module and the legendary version of it at work again too, giving us a little bit extra damage than we otherwise would have if we weren't running it. And the Cleveland is essentially crippled. He's gonna be going down here soon. He's sort of trying to angle in, pointing his bow at us, but it's completely in vain. We can, of course, overmatch his armor everywhere. Maybe it's not completely in vain. RNG decides the Cleveland gets a little bit of reprieve and makes our dispersion, well, not so great. But as soon as we can take out the Cleveland, then we can get into the enemy spawn in the center of the map, and hopefully we can shoot at the Richelieu that decided to drive into the center, or maybe the destroyer that's going into Alpha. But first, this Cleveland has to go down, and our dispersion just doesn't want to cooperate. We do end up getting a good hit there for about 5k, and we've got the rear turret of Justice online. We'll see if we can't dispense Justice right into the Cleveland's bow. The Azuma, I think, behind us hits him, and we're able to take him out. There's our 3rd kill of the game. And all of a sudden, there's just 3 ships left. Our push up this flank was indeed quite effective. We took out 3 ships right off the bat, and if you had noticed, the enemy team actually had taken out 2 of our ships before we got our kill on the Chapayev. Azerlane, New Jersey there, doing the battleship thing of sit still, bow tank reverse. Bad idea. Opens your broadside to the enemy if the enemy is conscious enough to put their ship in a place to access it. And we do access it. There's our 4th kill. Is this the Kraken against the Richelieu? No. The Elbing takes him out, and that just leaves the enemy destroyer, which we don't quite know where he is. And this game is wrapped up. It's ended in, about 7-8 minutes? Not exactly a great game on the part of the red team. I don't normally like to show games like this, but the push up that alpha flank was just so effective that I couldn't not do it. And also, for those of you who were theorizing, that no armor equals best armor on the San Diego, because I did make a video on that a while ago saying I don't think it's a very good ship, and I stand by that. But for those of you who think no armor is best armor, well, there's the Georgia's 18-inch guns. They did get a dev strike on a broadside San Diego who was trying out that tactic, and, well, he found out. Doesn't work too well. Destroyer's been spotted. It's the Sumner. He's over the island. He's barely got any health left. So when we do get our Kraken, it is going to be a bit of a yoinked Kraken. Nevertheless, I thought this was a pretty interesting quick game to show you. And there's the final salvo out. The Sumner goes down. Kraken unleashed. We end the battle with only 92,000 damage done. But keep in mind, the vast majority of that damage was nearly 100% of the hit points of 3 different cruisers, so our XP still nets us top of the leaderboard, and, well, we win the battle. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Happy Independence Day to all my fellow Americans out there tomorrow, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.